President Journey Harris and what led her to want to become a teacher.
One single puzzle piece. Without this one single puzzle piece, the puzzle will never be complete. As a child, this frustrated me. What do you mean I'm going to spend hours putting together a puzzle and get to the end and the pieces are not guaranteed to be there? So for that reason, I've only done 3 puzzles in my entire life. As you can guess, the third one was missing a piece. Now, fast forward to today. I'm an education major and about to be a junior in college, and I stand here today with a different perspective, a perspective that changed my life. At a very young age, I found that I felt the best in a building with colorful walls, tiled floors, and the stench of dirty old crayons. I found joy in colored pencils, the smell of lamination, and even cafeteria food. I loved being with my friends and having wood chips from the playground in my shoes. I enjoyed trips to the drippy old water fountain, and I most certainly strived for a trip to the treasure chest. I loved when they announced my birthday over the intercom, and I got to go to the office for a special birthday pencil, and I even loved pretending like my stomach hurt so that the nurse would give me a peppermint. School was a very magical place in the mind of blonde-headed, blue-eyed little Journey. Perhaps she wanted to spend all of her time at school because her friends were there, or maybe she thought her teacher slept there and a school sleepover never sounded like a bad idea. Nevertheless, she loved school. And her love for school would ultimately change her life. As I worked my way through the education system, I developed a special idea. I realized that every child represents a puzzle. And in the same way that one may line out the edges of a puzzle, teachers represent the edge pieces or the foundation. I started to look into my own story more deeply, and I began to see all of the pieces that made my puzzle foundation. Pieces like that one assistant principal who always gave me a high five, or the pre-K teacher who still keeps in touch. There were obvious pieces, like that 5th grade teacher that made me join UIL strictly so I could stay at school a little bit longer, or that teacher that I had my senior year that truly impacted me beyond measure. Then there were less obvious pieces, like that librarian who just happened to have extra books after every book fair, or the 4th grade teacher who told my mom the field trip was free, but I knew it cost $50, and someone had to take care of it. Although noticing my puzzle pieces was impactful, the true impact came when I saw others get to experience the magic that I had grown so comfortable with. I watched as my best friend, who lost her mother, found comfort in a coach who offered her a listening ear and sympathy. I noticed again as a 3rd grade teacher fought for my brother's success even though he was deemed hard to love. The most magical place where I witnessed it was a classroom with 21 first graders. I watched as my mentor teacher encouraged them. She taught them that in moments of discouragement, everything they faced was just a hiccup. There are a few examples. These are just a few examples of some of my puzzle pieces. But what happens when the edge of the puzzle is filled? Where do we go from there? Well, that's where it gets special. Because when you start filling in the middle of your puzzle, you'll start encountering mentors, colleagues, friends, family, and they'll all add to your puzzle. And if you're like us and you choose the best job in the world, your students will become a part of your puzzle. But the cool thing is, while they're becoming part of yours, you're also becoming a part of theirs. So although I used to hate puzzles, I stand here in front of you with a perspective that makes me thankful for them. I think of all the pieces that outline my puzzle and the ones that are filling in the center, and I'm so thankful. I know very well that if it weren't for each piece of my puzzle, I would not be who I am today. The kind words that my teachers spoke into me and the inspiration they offered me through the years is the reason I chose teaching. They saw something in me that for a long time I couldn't see in myself. And now that I do, I feel responsible to pass that on, to be there for someone else. I want to be the teacher who stays a little longer after class to simply listen, like Miss Everts did for me. Or the teacher who bans the word easy from her classroom because she understands that it's not easy for every kid, like Miss Hellner did. Or the teacher that allows glitter on every project because, like Miss Thomas always said, a little glitter never hurt anyone. I want to be like the Miss Chadwicks of the world, the Miss Phipps of the world, the Miss Sims, Miss Olivers, Miss Butlers, and so many more. Because the truth is, I know what it is to need people like that. I know what it is to walk into a room and that be the only place on the planet where you feel safe, where the noise at home doesn't follow you, where your heart feels a little less heavy, and where just for a moment you can breathe. I know what it's like to sit at a desk and hope that someone notices that you're not okay, and to hope that someone sees past the smile that you've glued on. But thank God someone did. A teacher noticed, a teacher cared, and a teacher became a piece of my puzzle. And that changed everything. That is why I'm here. That is why I chose this, because one day there will be a child who walks into my classroom holding broken pieces from a life they didn't ask for. And they won't say a word, but I'll see them because I was them. And if I can be just one piece that makes their puzzle feel a little more whole, then everything will have been worth it. Because sometimes being a teacher doesn't mean shaping a mind. Sometimes it means shaping a life. Thank you.